Hello Wheel Masters, and welcome back to Mastering the Wheel. I just want to start this video off by giving a warm welcome to all of the new members who joined the BetMaster community over the weekend. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you on Discord, answering all of your questions, and getting BetMaster up and running for you. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all about your success stories with the program. Now, if you're new to the channel, I use a program I wrote called BetMaster. This is one of the most powerful roulette tools on the internet that allows you to build custom progressions, have the program automatically execute bets, track data from all wheel sectors, and has a simulation mode so you can test new systems at a live wheel without risking any real money. To learn more, you can check it out at www.betmaster-data.com. Now, this is day 2 of the Bankroll building series. I'm going to use one of the most powerful roulette strategies with an above average win rate. And I'll be using my program BetMaster to execute the bets in a way that is humanly impossible. What we're going to be doing is tracking the 18 numbers that have been hit most frequently over the last 74 spins. And we're not going to be placing any bets until a special trigger condition has been met. We're going to be using a trigger I call system failure. What that means is my program is going to be keeping track of wins and losses as if we were placing real bets, but we're not. Not until the system fails in a sort of simulation mode. That is our entry point. Now, real bets will be placed and our goal is 10% of our $230 risk, so $25, or 40 spins, whatever comes first. Now, the trigger conditions can take minutes or hours to be met, so I'm going to speed up the video while we wait for the trigger, and I'll play a song from the BetMaster soundtrack while we wait. And while the song is playing, please let me know in the comments what you think of it. I'll be right back when the trigger fires in about, 3 minutes. We'll see you then.
You only get one spin, one moment, when the tables reveal themselves. Don't pray, don't hope, just read the numbers.
I used to sit at the screen with my hands on the chips, cold palms, heart racing, fear locked in the wrist, cursor floating like a ghost, chasing hits that never hit, roulette laughing in my face like, kid, you don't exist. Losing nights had me broke, I was begging to recover. Every streak I chased, roulette flipped me to another. No plan, no math, just a gambler undercover, praying black comes again like a desperate lover. I was tired of the hype, tired of luck will save you, tired of superstition, tired of hope I'd pay through. Then I saw something different, the way the numbers wave through, but master in the cold, like the wheel spoke, I obey you. OCR dissecting spins, like a doctor in the dark. Patterns breathing through the static, like embers in a spark. Absence windows lighting up, like a target on a mark. Suddenly roulette was praying, I was ready to embark.
There's a moment in the chaos when the wheel starts to bend, and the gamblers pray for mercy, but you see the hidden trend. If you hesitate, you're done. If you fear it, you descend. You don't gamble to survive, you deploy to ascend.
One spin, don't waste it. Let the triggers tell the path. The master in the shadows, turning fate into math. One chance, don't chase and make the systems do the task. When the wheel begins to tremble, you don't ask, you attack. You attack.
Multi-table battlefield, 6 screens in command, while the rookies drop their stacks like a rain dome on the sand. Frequency analysis humming quiet in my hand. Cold clusters start collapsing, streak detection takes a stand. I don't panic on the bias, I recruited as a soldier. Let the voice do the hunting, let the system take the shoulder. You still chasing red or black, like a child getting older. I'm the ghost in the machine, roulette's neck in the folder. Progression isn't panic, it's assurance in the veins. Multi-group deployments, twisting loss in the games. You think the dealer holds the power, no, the wheel just obeys. When the numbers bend the knees, you carve kingdom through the maze.
There's a moment in the chaos when the wheel starts to bend, and the gamblers pray for mercy, but you see the hidden trend. If you hesitate, you're done. If you fear it, you descend. You don't gamble to survive, you deploy to ascend.
One spin, don't waste it. Let the triggers tell the path. That master in the shadows, turning fate into math. One chance, don't chase and make the systems do the test. When the wheel begins to tremble, you don't ask, you attack.
The shark in the waves, let the table misbehave. BetMaster digs his grave. Every player in the lobby has their dreams on delay. You don't dream, you dissect, you don't beg, you obey. Only numbers, only logic, only signals in the fray. If roulette won't hand the crown, you rip the castle away.
path. BetMaster in the shadows, turning fate into math. One chance, don't chase it, make the systems do the task. When the wheel begins to tremble, you don't ask, you attack. One spin, no mercy, no superstition, no laugh. BetMaster at the helm in the casino in the past. We don't pray, we don't beg, we don't break, we don't ask. We read the numbers. We see the cracks. We attack. We see the cracks and we attack.
Okay, guys, so that 29 was the 7th cold number in a row. So the trigger was hit, and now we're going to start to place bets, and there they go. All right, so we've got the 18 hottest numbers being bet on right now, and it took 105 spins for that trigger to fire. So not bad. A couple of videos ago, it took 400 spins. The last one for day one of the Bankroll building series, that one was just over 300 spins. So this time, 100 spins. It varies. I've had this trigger take 700 spins to fire, and then I've also had it fire in 50 spins. So, you really don't know when it's going to happen. But when it does happen, the chances of it failing again right away are slim. That rarely happens. And that's why I choose this as my entry point. And you'll see, over time, just how well, structuring my sessions like this works, right? Yeah. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. I've been doing this for a while now, and I've had more success playing this way than any other way. All right, and yes, we won that last one, so perfect. First win, first bet, first win. Always good when that happens. We're off to a good start, and there we go. So 2 wins in a row. 100% win rate. I'm sure that's not going to keep up, but I'm not going to complain about it for now. That's really good. And let's see, we've got on the table, and this can make a difference too, like how many hot numbers are on the heat map. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 13 numbers that are hot on the heat map right now. So that's not bad. On average, I'll typically see 12 numbers at any given time. But when the table's really hot, that can go as high as 16 or 17 hot numbers. I always find when I happen to enter at times like that, my win to loss ratio is really high. Just because I tend to hit the numbers that are hitting the most. For whatever reason, they're hot. Why ever the ball is landing in that sector of the wheel or that section of the wheel, I don't really care. It's just that I'm betting where it does, and I just happen to be hitting them. So that's all that matters to me. And we're 3-0 right now, so not bad. And we still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. And we have that 12. No, we do not have the 12. So there we go. We just took our first loss. So now we're 3-1. All right. Bullet number 2. So if you're new and you're just watching this video for the first time, or this, for this bankroll series, I haven't really explained much about exactly what we're doing. So this progression has a 7-level, it is a 7-level system. So after the 7th level, we call it quits. And yeah, basically the premise of the system is we're betting on the 18 hottest numbers. We have 7 levels, and it's pretty simple. We're martingaling this. And there's another win. Yeah, the two things that make this specific system special is the fact that we're betting on the 18 most frequently hit numbers, and that trigger point. When I enter the game is really important. Now, there's another way that you can enter, which I've also found does make a difference. You saw me counting the hot numbers up there, And so if I didn't want to wait for a trigger, then I could wait for the heat map to really increase. So I've said, and in fact, I just gave this advice to one of our members, and he's having great success with it. Is you can start placing your bets or enter the game when the heat map has at least 13 hot numbers or more. And so he's on win. I just talked to him today. He's on win number. Actually, by the time you see this, I'll have talked to him yesterday. But he's up to win number 12. So and leaving at 10%. So now if he loses, he's losing casino money, right? He still has his bankroll intact. He's doubled his bankroll essentially, or the risk amount, I should say. So and I was talking to him about the win to loss ratio, and he's doing great. He's somewhere around 65% on average. And don't forget, we're only betting on 48.6% of the table or of the wheel. And so we should be winning on average about that much. But in my experience, and now, my member, well, Rick is his name. He's been sharing with me his information, and he's hitting around 65% too. So there's something to be said about that. And wow, look at that guy. So we're at a 6-1 win to loss ratio with an 85.7% hit rate. So honestly, this is above average. I don't think that's going to hold out for this whole session, but that's really high. You know, I can usually finish a session somewhere between 60 and 70%. You don't get these kind of numbers when you're betting on random numbers. I know because I've tested, betting on hot and betting on random over hundreds of sessions, back to back. And there's really no comparison. Of course, I do win sometimes with random, but when I put the two data sets together, it's like 35-65, right? And that's what I win with. On average, I'm winning at a 65% win rate. So the numbers all line up. It just makes sense. Most people don't analyze roulette the way I do, and I've got a very analytical mind. I own a bookkeeping company. It's the bread and butter of my family. It's what we've been doing for over 15 years now, and yes, all I do is analyze businesses and numbers. And when roulette came across my mind, it was funny. I was actually homeschooling. So I homeschooled my kids for the last 6 years, and my youngest one just went back to school this year. My oldest one went back 2 years ago. But anyways, I was teaching them a math lesson on probabilities, and I don't know why, but roulette just popped into my mind, and I'm like, roulette's, although a game of chance, it's also a game of probabilities, right? Because there's things that probably will happen and probably won't. And it was that moment that was basically, the birth of BetMaster. It started off with me going to, wheels, and I started to analyze the bets. Well, the patterns, the numbers. My first attraction was to like red and black, and this is kind of a long story, so I'll save it for another day. But ultimately, it started at analyzing red and black, and I started getting into, waiting for certain lengths of red and black. I was looking at, improbable events to happen before I would start making my entry point. And although I didn't really get ahead doing it like that, that was really the birth of where some of my ideas came for developing BetMaster. I used to watch the table for hours during the day, waiting for events to happen. And that's when I thought to myself, man, it'd be nice if I had a program that would watch the table for me and let me know when these events are happening. So that's when I started, coding to be able to write programs that would monitor the table for me. And this whole thing wasn't meant to be a project that was put out to the public like it is now. It was more of I just wanted to see what happened. I thought, I would just go in and start beating roulette. And, I had some wins and some losses, and there were some challenges in the beginning. But once I started increasing my win rate and building up my bankroll with data-driven decisions, because the more data I used, the more data points that I had, and the more I understood about the probabilities and how I can analyze roulette, the better I started to do, the more I started to win. And now I know there's a school of thought that thinks that, data doesn't matter. And it really just depends how you look at it. So, for example, no data in the world is going to tell you what the next spin is going to be. And I'm noticing right now we're not doing very well. Oh, did we win that last one? We did. Okay. I think we got to like level 6 or something like that. But yeah, so I mean, we're doing good right now, 61.5%. Okay. But what I would say, there's no data in the world that can tell you what the next spin is going to be, right? We can't predict the next spin. Roulette is random in that sense. But where I started to, make that shift, in my win rate was when I started realizing that rare events happening 2 consecutive times is even more rare than it even happening once, right? Like think about lightning strikes, right? A lightning strike has a probability of hitting, anywhere on Earth. I don't know what the number is exactly, but it's got that probability, right? It's got that chance. And then once it's struck there, in the same way that, say, an individual number has come, it's struck there, it's come, it's happened. What are the chances of that lightning striking, in roughly the same area again, right? Just like the number, any given number striking again right after it just happened. It's rare. I mean, when we're talking numbers that have a probability of 1 in 37, it's not that rare. It happens. We see it all the time, right? But when the one comes now and then the one comes again right after, okay, fine, that event happened. But then you're going to see many, many, many more ones before you see 2 ones come again, right? Does that make sense? So essentially, I started looking at roulette that way and progressions. And when I started applying math to my progressions, and I realized that, well, progressions have a failure rate too, right? And so I've made videos. You can go back and check them out where I run formulas on my progressions and I assign them kind of a risk profile. And this gives me a window to operate in. And when you understand the risk profile of your progression, and then you wait for that progression to fail, and then you jump in right after it fails, you've just given yourself all kinds of opportunity. So is roulette random? Well, sure, it's random in the way that, like, my progression can fail anytime. My progression has failed 2 consecutive times, but that doesn't happen very often. You understand? So that's kind of what I'm trying to get people to think about roulette a little bit differently. And that's why I share this information, because it's not quite the game of random that everybody thinks it is. It is random, and we'll never change the fact that, we can't predict the next number. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm just rambling on here. Holy crapes. For a second, I thought we had won. I didn't see any chips on the table. But I guess we'd already won them. Okay, so we're moving on, and we're at $19.80 and level 2. Okay. Sorry, what I was saying was we can't change the fact that, sure, we can't predict the next event. Roulette is random that way. And the fact that my progression can fail anytime, of course it can, right? But it kind of fails in a certain increment on average, right? The system I'm using today has an average failure rate of 216 spins. When I look at a 10,000 spin sample, that's exactly how often it failed. Now, it may have gone 1,000 spins without failing, and then it may have failed 3 times in 100 spins, right? But when I look at all 10,000 spins, it failed on average 216 times. And when I look at that sample, I can see that it failed back to back once, right? See, so the probability of that event happening are really, really rare. So if you use something like that as your entry point, then the chances of you winning inevitably increase, right? Does that make sense? Anyway, so that's what I use, and that's what I'm trying to show you guys. And if you don't believe me, I don't blame you, because we've been taught something different about roulette. It's kind of very common for people to think roulette's just a game of random. Like I often hear people, okay, we're going to be betting on streets today. Just place your bets anywhere. And I'm like, no, don't place your bets anywhere. Find out what the hot streets are and place them there. Right. So, if you're playing at a random number generator, then fine, place your bets anywhere. It doesn't matter. Eventually you're going to lose your money. But when you're playing at a live wheel with a live dealer, I'm telling you, betting on the areas, the sectors that the ball is landing absolutely makes a difference. And like I said, if you don't believe me, fine, but please just keep watching the videos and see the progress that we make by betting on the hot numbers, or on the hot, the areas that are hitting most. Because as you can see, like right now, we're at a 57.9% win rate. On the last video, I finished at, I think it was like 70%. Right? I'm always finishing higher than what I'm expected to be. That's not by chance. Okay, it's not by chance, and I've got enough data to show it. And by you guys watching these videos, you're going to see that doing this, can make a difference. And I hope that you take advice from what I'm telling you and implement systems, or implement these rules into your system. Apply math to your progressions. Find out what the risk is. Give yourself a risk window instead of a financial target. Like this system, it's got a 40 spin window. We are going to leave at 40 spins if we don't make our financial goal. The goal is 10%, but that really doesn't matter. I leave at 40 spins no matter what. And then giving myself that trigger, that entry point. That's a huge difference for me. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. We really have to reconsider how we look at roulette. It's really not completely the game of random that we're taught it is. Don't just place your bets randomly, is what I'm trying to say, right? There's give it some method to your madness. And even if roulette is basically random all of the time, well, then what difference does it make? Like I said before, place your bets on the sectors that's landing the most, and hopefully there's a bias and you'll capitalize on it, right? It can't hurt. And we are one bet away from winning, guys. We're rocking, and 63.6% win rate. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That last bet was the win. Here I am rambling on, and I didn't even notice that we had won. Sometimes I get carried away in my thoughts. But, I feel that the information I have is valuable, and I hope that you believe so too. And I'm happy to share it with you. And anybody who uses it, I'm sure you're going to benefit from it. So that said, guys, another great win. We just added more money to our bankroll. That was a nice, easy one, a good high win rate. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It does help out the channel a great deal. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, and bye for now.
It's the wheel of steel, 37 in a circle. Most play emotion, I'm surgical, purposeful. They chase a streak, I track the sequence. Every single spin got a meaning in the frequency. Log it, watch it, break it down clean.